This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Gwilda Wiyaka's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the Science of Magic or endorsed in any manner by Gwilda Wiyaka, Relmar McConnell Media Company, its affiliated networks, stations, or employees. Welcome to the Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, a program dedicated to uncovering the unified nature of reality and humanity's ever-evolving place as truly galactic beings. For more information on the Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, visit us online at www.thescienceofmagic.net.
Welcome to the Science of Magic, a program combining the science and magic of today's leading topics to co-create new solutions and promote evolutionary thinking. We're coming to you through the leader in responsible paranormal and alternative science programming, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, xzbn.net, and can also be found on our website, thescienceofmagic.net. I'm your host, Gwilda Wiyaka. This hour we'll be exploring the Forgotten Circle. One thing all shamanic practices have in common is earth connection. To one degree or another, they also honor stellar connection and the balance to be maintained between heaven and earth. This hour, we'll be working with the science and the magic of earth connection. 201, my many shamanic teachers taught the importance of honoring the earth in all of our relations. They saw illness as a result of stepping out of the circle of life, thereby dishonoring the connectedness and interrelatedness of all things. While it was understood we must take life to live, be it a rabbit, a deer, an herb, wood for a fire, or water from the stream, life was taken with ceremony, honor, balance, and gratitude. In shamanic societies, great care was taken to walk in a good way among our relations. Humans were seen as stewards of the earth, responsible for maintaining balance and harmony. Nothing was taken without something being given in return. Looking around me, I despair as how far we've fallen from those simple principles and the results of our folly. The circle of life has been forgotten. We've become an isolated, narcissistic, and sick society. Everything except for humanity is part of the whole. Yet we grow out of control like a malignant tumor, threatening the very earth we live on and all of our relations. No better than parasites, we take much and leave nothing but toxic waste. We've so distorted our environment with imbalanced living that we're poisoning ourselves and everything around us. Yet, there is hope if we wake up in time. The circle of life is forgotten, but not lost. Life still holds universal truth and balance from the quantum level to the universe and beyond. The innate intelligence of life is still there, ready and available to embrace us once again as beloved relations. The blueprint for health, vitality, abundance, and joy imbues everything around us. We have but to recalibrate to the earth and her frequency. We cannot hope to go back to indigenous ways, but we can create new ways that still honor all of our relations. As the host of the Science of Magic Radio, I have the honor and privilege of sharing information with amazing practitioners of both the sciences and magic. Through this process, I've gained new knowledge and hope for our future. Life is powered by a mystical yet logical force that's much greater than the folly of our ways. I've come to see not only possibility, but remarkable likelihood of developing amazing scientific and magical solutions to our current dilemmas. Learn from yesterday, live for today, hope for tomorrow. The important thing is to not stop asking. Albert Einstein. We can once again become stewards of our relations rather than conquerors and destroyers of all in our path. We can once again walk in a good way as one with all of our relations. We need only ask the right questions, take the right action, and believe in the magic of life. Our guest this hour, Robin Rose Bennett, is the founder of Wisewoman Healing Ways, Herbal Medicine, and EarthSpirit Teachings. She's a gifted herbalist, writer, spiritual teacher. Robin Rose shares herbal medicine with gratitude for the loving generosity of the plants and the magic and mystery and beauty of life. She's taught at hospitals, community centers, women's shelters, holistic conferences, and most joyously, outside with the plants. She's a faculty member of the ArborVitae School of Traditional Herbalism and the New York Open Center. Robin is the guest lecturer at colleges and universities, medical schools, and teaching hospitals. Robin Rose is the author of Healing Magic, a Green Witch Guidebook to Conscious Living, 10th Anniversary Edition, and The Gift of Healing, Herbs, Plants, Medicinal Home Remedies for a Vibrant and Healthy Life. After this commercial break, I'll introduce Robin, and together we'll explore plant medicine, magic, the forgotten cycle, and conscious living. You're listening to The Science of Magic, thescienceofmagic.net.
Hi everyone, Rob McConnell here, and I wanted to spend a moment on internet streaming. Everybody has heard about internet streaming, but not many know much about it. Did you know the internet streams just about everything?
Movies,
From new releases to old classics.
TV shows,
Almost every show, every episode, and much more. But the question has always been, how do you do it? Well now, thanks to the folks at 123 Ready TV, I have the answer for you. They have developed a simple program app, 123 Ready TV, that you install on your Windows PC, Android smartphone, or Android tablet that can have you streaming like a pro in less than 5 minutes. You truly won't believe how much is available or how easy it is to do until you try. And for a one-time cost of only $19.99, this product is a real winner. To learn more about 123 Ready TV, visit our website at www.xzbn.net.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
How would you like to be able to read other people's minds? Well, the next best thing is here. When you know how to read a person's name, you know how the person thinks, feels, and behaves. Each letter in our name holds a key to unlock our true essence. Our name contains both our gifts and challenges in this lifetime. Mnemology science discovers personality secrets hidden in the placement of the letters of our names, including the first and last impression people remember about us. Sharon shows us how to interpret the arrangement of letters as outlined in her book, Know the Name, Know the Person. Sharon Lynn Wyeth created mnemology science after 18 years of research and testing her theories, and has supported thousands of people around the world in understanding themselves and others better. You'll enjoy Sharon's unique teachings as she shares her system to learn the gifts behind your given birth name. Even if you don't like your birth name, there are jewels in this book. If you're thinking of changing your name, ready to name your child, or wanting to get along better with others, this is the book for you. If you'd like to improve your relationships and change your life for the better, get the book today, Know the Name, Know the Person, or visit www.knowthename.com. That's www.knowthename.com.
Take a step back in time and discover old Florida cuisine at Marsh Landing Restaurant in Fellsmere, Florida. Enjoy delicacies such as frog legs, gator tail, catfish, and swamp cabbage, or enjoy the more traditional cuisine such as hand-cut Angus steaks, ribs, and seafood. Join us for breakfast with a southern flair featuring sweet potato pancakes, biscuits and gravy, and much more. Planning a party? Marsh Landing's private dining rooms can accommodate groups from 8 to 80 people. While you visit, enjoy the historic pictures, artifacts, and stories that line the walls. Marsh Landing is truly a unique experience. Marsh Landing Restaurant, 44 North Broadway in historic downtown Fellsmere, or visit marshlandingrestaurant.com. Marsh Landing, old Florida cuisine at its best.
Welcome back. This is The Science of Magic, dedicated to unification and evolution of consciousness. I'm your host, Gwilda Wiyaka. We're living in exciting and unprecedented times. As we enter a new era, we're being given the chance to embrace unity. In times of unity, seemingly opposing forces, science and magic, the old and the new, spirit and the mundane, can unite to create innovative solutions to seemingly insurmountable problems. With us this hour to explore the topic is Rose Bennett, author of Healing Magic, a Green Witch Book Guide to Conscious Living, and The Gift of Healing Herbs, Plants, Medicines, and Home Remedies for a Vibrant, Healthy Life. Her website is robinrosebennett.com. Robin, thank you so much for joining us on The Science of Magic.
I am delighted. Thank you for having me here, Gwilda.
Let's start out with why do you consider yourself a green witch?
Okay. Well, I consider myself a green witch because I guess I've always been a witch, and I see a witch as one who is attuned to the interconnectedness of all of life and knows that there is a thread of spirit that animates everything on the planet, including the things that are not usually thought of as alive in our contemporary world. And then a green witch was something I came to a bit later, even after my initial spiritual studies. And the green brings in the love of nature and a particular affinity even for working with, allying with the plants, the trees, the seaweeds, all of the green allies that grace our earth and that were here before we were. So that's why I call myself a green witch, because it's about the most fitting distillation I can come up with for my multifaceted personality and interest, because like everyone else, I'm made up of many, many different, kind of parts and components. And sometimes I jokingly call myself, but, with that bit of truth in it, an indigenous green witch with a Buddhist bent.
So is being a witch something one's born into, or do you have to study to become one? How does that work?
I kind of have the sense that, and not to leave the guys out, but I kind of have the sense that all women are actually witches. And I do think, though, there is also an aspect of being born into it. I was a witch for a very long time before I learned that I had a physical lineage of this through my mother's side. I had no idea. I mean, I always knew my mother was kind of different, and she was very intuitive, psychic. But she didn't know, and I didn't know, but I managed to find out through hooking up with a very elder relative before they passed. And then there is the learning, but learning is part of any tradition. learning and practice. But I think that the intrinsic way of being in the world is not something that requires study.
So what's the difference between, say, for instance, somebody that's shamanically gifted or a witch or someone that's just intuitive?
Oh, okay. Well, Gwilda, I think that absolutely everything in life is really a story. So I know this is a bit broad of an answer, and I can deepen or expound on it if you would like me to, but I would say the difference is which story one resonates with, which story one is attracted to. And so I find a lot of similarities between shamanism and witchcraft, but they're very different stories, or not so very different, but they're different, and different tools and different props and different things to play with. But the essential quality of all shamanic traditions, that, as you said in that really wonderful opening that you gave to your show today, is one. It's this belief. No, it's not a belief. It's so far past a belief. It's the knowing and the experiential living of this connectedness of all life. And of course, this leads us. Yeah, go ahead.
So basically, all of them deal with the quantum level of life, the invisible level of life.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
So what led you as a magical practitioner to lecture at numerous schools of medicine?
Well, it's funny. When they first started calling me for such things, I was absolutely certain they had the wrong number.
I know the feeling, yes.
I was like, really? You want me? I make no pretense about, not about being magical, and I use the word witch, and I'm really, I'm out there in the world as a green witch, and they'd be like, yes, we meant to call you. So I think that, there is enormous succor and sustenance and delight and joy in gathering with our tribe. And then there is also the importance of reaching out beyond our tribes and reaching out into, if people don't know that there are alternative roads to walk, then it's very hard to walk them. And so I see that one of my jobs, not necessarily my only, but one of my jobs is to speak into the kind of wider world about the reality of magic and how it shifts and changes your life in both a joyful way and in an encouraging way, so that you can look the problems, the challenges, the incredible insanities that are going on in our world. You can look them directly in the eye, so to speak, and yet you have alternatives. You have alternatives to the despair that otherwise, despair will arise, right? If we look at poisoning a river, despair will arise if we are feeling beings, but we don't want to live there. And so what I find is, and I guess I went kind of afield of your question, but, I go into hospitals, and here's like my favorite thing anybody ever said to me after lecturing in a medical school. He said, you reminded me why I wanted to be a doctor in the first place. I had completely lost that.
Mm-hmm. Got it. So This brings us to, what is magic?
So there's many fine and fun definitions of magic. To me, magic is, and I wrote this in Healing Magic, magic is the extraordinary reality that weaves through every molecule, every aspect of what we call ordinary reality or the mundane world. And for me, Gwilda, magic and spirit are interchangeable. They're interchangeable words. I just like magic because it's fun.
So how would you define spirit in that context?
Spirit is the extraordinary reality that animates everything. From the stone to the molecules in your chair that you're sitting on, to the mountain, to the trees. It's spirit is consciousness, and magic is is like the consciousness of that animating force.
Do you see it as interactive? So magic is where you can interact with that force?
Well, magic simply is. And as we interact with it, life gets way more juicy.
That's well put. So how's what you're offering received by the medical community?
Wonderfully. Wonderfully. It's like there is this hunger. I think there is a hunger for truth in all realms of our world right now. And so I had no idea how I would be received. And when I first started doing that, and I decided to go in as myself, and do it how I do it, not try to be more acceptable, less threatening, whatever. And so I came in and I sang my Earth Connection songs, and we hung herbs up in the big auditorium where the professors and the medical students were sitting, which, by the way, someone told me like 5 years later they were still hanging. They were still hanging on the walls at Brown University, which I just loved, influencing everybody. So, yeah, really well received, because here's what I've learned, and this is true across so many levels, is when you are, or when I am, ambivalent about what we're presenting or saying or asking for or thinking, we get ambivalent results. And when we are clear and committed and we know what we're dedicated to, the results tend to be clear.
You get out of a thing what you put into it, right? So can you speak to the science behind witchcraft and magic?
Well, let me give it a try.
Okay.
My perception is that science is always kind of running behind us, trying to catch up with how to explain what we know is true. And I think science is doing a pretty great job, through physics and quantum physics. So there is this reality that you cannot perceive something without it being affected by the perceiver, by whatever I have in my head about what I'm perceiving. So science is now showing us that. Science is showing us that we can change even our genetic probabilities with our minds, with our hearts, with our inner work. I mean, as well as with our food and our herbs and our practices. So that's how I see, almost like how neuroscience fairly recently came out with this marvelous statement that they discovered that people learn things best when they're put in a story. Like,
right.
Oh, well, adorable. Yeah, we could have told you that.
Been using that a long time, right? Right.
Yeah, I've been doing that a long time, or they'll do studies of things like, so I like science when it is, when it helps. See, I myself don't personally, so this is something I really have to make peace with in my teaching, or figure out how to do this, or have had to figure out how to do this. I don't need a scientific proof or basis or trying to think what's that word, but I don't need an explanation from science about how something works. I'm happy if it works, then I'm like kind of going with that. I'm happy with that. But I do understand that many people, especially contemporary people, do need that. They absolutely need that. So I'll pepper in enough science and enough, like when I go to the, if I'm in a hospital or a clinic or a teaching center, something like that, a medical, I'll throw in a few more 5-syllable words. I won't say I don't do anything different, just because that helps people, feel like you know what you're talking about, whether it would.
Well, you got to speak the language, right?
Yeah, a little bit. You do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's helpful.
Well,
It's
we're going to have to take a commercial break. So Robin and I will return to our discussion on the other side of this break, so don't go away. We're coming to you through the X-Zone Broadcast Network. Don't miss the other fine shows and hosts on xzbn.net. You're listening to The Science of Magic, your resource for creative solutions in a changing world. thescienceofmagic.net.
Hi everyone, Rob McConnell here, and I wanted to spend a moment on internet streaming. Everybody has heard about internet streaming, but not many know much about it. Did you know the internet streams just about everything?
Movies.
From new releases to old classics.
TV shows.
Almost every show, every episode, and much more. But the question has always been, how do you do it? Well now, thanks to the folks at 123 Ready TV, I have the answer for you. They have developed a simple program app, 123 Ready TV, that you install on your Windows PC, Android smartphone, or Android tablet that can have you streaming like a pro in less than 5 minutes. You truly won't believe how much is available or how easy it is to do until you try. And for a one-time cost of only $19.99, this product is a real winner. To learn more about 123 Ready TV, visit our website at www.xzbn.net.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
True healing must address 4 levels: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, for us to live joyful and productive lives. We tend to treat 3 of the 4, leaving the spiritual languishing. If you're tired of the same dysfunctional patterns cropping up in your life, Soul Balancing is for you. Trixie Phelps, owner and founder of Soul Balancing, is a naturally gifted energy healer trained in numerous esoteric forms, including shamanism. Trixie has created a powerful modality that safely and effectively clears your energetic field. A Soul Balancing session can remove interference, heal trauma, and restore your hope. Contact Trixie for a life-changing long-distance session today, www.soulbalancing.world. There's a legend shared by many indigenous cultures of a time when the nations were cast to the 4 corners of the world. Each nation was given a body of sacred knowledge that held a different portion of the truth to preserve. True reality could not be known until all the nations reunited, combining the information. If a single one was missing, the world could not be reborn and darkness would prevail. The Science of Magic Radio is dedicated to reuniting the sacred knowledge. With the understanding, none of us has all the answers, but together we can open new perceptions and possibilities. Through our combined vision, the world can be reborn into a place where darkness no longer prevails. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, and the Science of Magic daily on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, xzbn.net, or visit us at thescienceofmagic.net. Welcome back. This is the Science of Magic, a place where magic and science come together to promote enlightenment. I'm your host, Gwilda Wiyaka. We cover what's hot for in-depth exploration of leading-edge subjects from numerous authorities and viewpoints, Join our email family to receive our topic-driven episode collections at thescienceofmagic.net. Our guest this hour is Robin Rose Bennett, author of Healing Magic, a Green Witch Guidebook to Conscious Living, and The Gift of Healing Herbs, Plant Medicines and Home Remedies for a Vibrant, Healthy Life. Robin, let's talk a little bit about ritual. What's the purpose of ritual?
Ritual is so important, and it's something that I do see coming back into our world at this time. So when I first met ritual, was introduced to ritual as part of my magical education, I sort of said, like, well, why would we do that? What's the point? And I was intrigued when I was told that ritual offered a way to enact and to affect how things come into being. So ritual gives us, and we all know the dreariness of, boring ritual, of meaningless ritual, of empty ritual. So I think what we're bringing in now are meaningful rituals that help us to creatively participate in the cycles and the seasons. So there's different kinds of rituals. There's the rituals that say, like we, have for the rebirthing that happens at spring equinox, or, like that kind of a ritual that honors the cycles, the seasons, the moon rituals, which I've been very deeply practicing for 30 years and plus now and teaching. But then there's also the rituals that can be done for a purpose, rather than to mark, a natural cycle. And what real ritual should always do, and I know I barely ever use the word should, so what I like to see real ritual do is to stimulate an altered state of consciousness in the participants, so that everyone kind of links in to that energetic reality that is behind the events that make up our lives. So
I see.
Go ahead.
I see two sides to ritual I'd like to discuss here. One is there's the ancient rituals that have been around forever, like you were speaking about, the ones that bring in the seasons, et cetera, and help us align with life in its current form. There's other rituals that are used for societies for naming and this and that and the next thing. And ritual has a basic formula that might vary a little from culture to culture, but not a whole bunch. On the other hand, we don't want to get dogmatic. We want living ritual.
Yes.
But how do you balance that with the tendency I see in the New Age society community to take a little from here, a little from there, and go off half-cocked?
Well, yeah, that's a great, a great point and concern. And I think it has to do with, how rooted in the earth you are. I think it's really important to have that. It's like I do know people who've done ritual for years and years who really, and calling in the mountains and the trees, and who really don't spend any time outside. So I think we need to anchor in place. We need to anchor in the place that we live, in the place that we know. And I say this as somebody who, really was, for my first 10 years as a public Green Witch, lived on the beautiful island of Manhattan. So it's not that you need to live in the woods, because the earth is everywhere. So that's one piece. And yeah, the one from column A, one from column B, I don't find that works well in healing either. When I see people who come for like an herbal consultation and they're trying to do a little bit of everything, and not really
shotgun
committed
effect
to anyone,
Yeah.
it doesn't work as well.
Right. So the principles, are there some basic principles that you can follow when you're creating ritual for the present moment?
Yes. It's ritual all over the world is done in a sacred circle. And that is a basic concept. It's like if you're cooking soup, you can't take all your vegetables and your beans and your this and that and just throw them on the fire. You have to have a pot to put them in.
Mm-hmm.
So the circle is the pot, if you will. And the thing that I see, one of the things I look for, Gwilda, is I look for things that are common wherever in the world you go.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And so one of the things that Yeah, so that's how I feel. That's how I kind of gauge its reality, as opposed to it being New Age woo-woo.
And there's a lot of that.
And there's a lot of that, of course there is. But we also need to be compassionate and patient with ourselves and others. I say that, because we all teach what we most need to learn. In terms of that, there's steps into coming into your real, authentic empowerment. So let's see, where was it? Oh, the circle. So when I look around the world, or I've had the good fortune to sit with shamans from here, there, and everywhere, from Africa to South America to the Arctic Circle, everyone calls in the elements and everyone calls in the directions. Mm-hmm. So even in my herbal teaching that I do in my long-term, my apprenticeship program, working with the elements is a very primary piece of the learning, of the teaching, because I feel like, especially now in this very pivotal, evolutionary, dangerous, exciting time that we are here for in terms of transformation of how we're living on the planet, these elements literally become resources. They literally become resources. So just for an example, the clarity of air, the passion of fire, the exploratory or fluid nature of water, and the manifesting or womanifesting energy of earth. These become energies that can add, that are bigger than our personal expression of those energies and can add to our personal expression. Like, I always feel like we're calling the largest part of ourselves when we call a circle. And there too, the circle is already there. It's always there. But we call it to help ourselves remember and to help ourselves feel that we've created a sacred space in which to enact a ritual.
That's a good way of putting it. It's a form of remembering, because the elements are within us as well as without of us. But the elements within us, when they become imbalanced, then we become imbalanced. But the balance is still available if you take the time to reconnect, remember the expression that's always there on the planet.
Yes, and also there are 7 directions for most people in most places. So we have the 4, the air, the fire, the water, and the earth. We also have below, above, and the center, which are essential, because that's how the circle doesn't become stayed or fixed or trite or limiting. It's how the circle becomes a spiral and moves through time. And so that below is, there's so many stories you can write about the associations. For me, below is akin to within us, and it is also akin to the ancestors. And above is akin to when we kind of lift up and out of ourselves and we kind of fly overhead and look down and we witness, the drama of it all, but from an expanded perspective. Mm-hmm. And so above is also the future generations. So I like to call in both the wisdom of those who've been here before and those who are yet to come.
Yeah, the ancestors and descendants, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that helps us remember that we too will be the ancestors.
I feel more ancestral lately than I have in the past, but yeah, I get you.
Are you saying because of becoming elder?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I hear you.
What's the difference between ritual and ceremony?
To me, a ceremony is usually about a person or people that everyone is focused on, whether it's like, say, a wedding ceremony or a naming or a funeral or a divorce ceremony for that matter. But the ritual is for everyone.
Okay, so the ceremony
is about everyone and for everyone, and everyone is participating actively.
Okay, so ceremony is ritual is used in ceremony, but ceremony isn't always in ritual. Is that?
Oh yeah, I think they are actually both always. There's a little bit of each in each. I think there's often ritual and ceremony. Like if you have a Jewish wedding and you have a chuppah, that's a ritual that's in your ceremony.
Right.
But
Very
it's not like I am. To me, I guess the biggest difference would be I know people do this different ways, but how I like to see it and how I like to do it, ritual doesn't have an audience. Ceremony has an audience.
So ceremony is working with group agreement?
Well, ritual, if it's a group ritual, has to work with group agreement too.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say they have that in common. Ritual is more participatory. I sometimes like to play. I play a lot with words. I like to play with ritual as ritual.
Okay, got it.
Ritual, the practice of ritual makes you ritual. So, am I anywhere near answering your question?
Well, it's a very
way?
It's a very nebulous kind of difference. It's very difficult to describe, I think.
Well, let's say if you were having a crone's crowning, you were having a rite of passage ceremony, you could have a ceremony or a ritual. And if you had, and maybe it is just nebulous and doesn't really matter, but because you asked, I really am trying to address it. The ceremony would be if you had all your friends there, and we were witnessing, like maybe a priestess was, saying things about you and thising and thatting and thising and thatting, and at the end we all celebrate you and we, have our feast thereafter. Whereas if we were doing it, if you wanted it as a ritual, you would weave all of us into the ceremony. All of us would be part of the of you owning your power as a crone,
rather than being just witnesses. As a culture, we seem to have gotten away from ceremony and ritual. Do you see that as detrimental, and if so, why?
Oh, it's absolutely detrimental, but I also understand why it's happened. It's happened because our rituals have lost their meaning, and because I think we're at a stage in evolution where we don't want to go through an intermediary to the divine. And so the great gift, one of the many great gifts of ritual, is that each person does reconnect or has that opportunity. The atmosphere is set for them to have the opportunity to experience their own connection with the divine, and then that changes your life.
Yeah, that is life altering, isn't it? It's life altering.
Yes.
We're going to have to take a break here in just a little bit, but when we get back, I'd like to talk about what's happened to ritual and ceremony, why we've gotten away, and how we can reconnect in a good way to help the times that are coming. So Robin and I will be back shortly, so don't leave us now. This is The Science of Magic, thescienceofmagic.net, your resource to altruistic professionals of science and the esoteric, working to create common ground for the betterment of our world. We're in this together. Your thoughts are important. If you have any comments or topics of interest to suggest, please email me at info@thescienceofmagic.net. Love to get your emails, and I'll definitely return them.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? I'm Dr. Kimberly McGeorge, and on The Secret to Everything, we will merge the practical with open investigation into all realms of the mysterious. We will talk to cutting-edge alternative health practitioners, those who inspire and motivate you in business and life, and of course, we will share stories of the paranormal, conspiracy, and cryptozoology. You will transform because of the frequency I carry, the frequencies my guests carry. Life may never be the same after you listen to this program, for the secret to everything is for you, the listener, for those who desire more in every area of their lives and believe that it can still be found. Listen and discover thesecrettoeverything.com.
Little children aren't the only ones afraid of the dark. Millions of soldiers return from war zones with PTSD, anger, frustration, fear, and loneliness, much of which surfaces during the darkness of the night. You have the chance to change the lives of these American heroes. Songs and Stories for Soldiers.us provides free MP3 players for these men and women. With a list of 3 million songs in 16 different styles, 100,000 audiobooks, and 30,000 old-time radio programs, every veteran can find something to soothe and comfort them at no cost. All our players contain an 8-hour audio program designed to help veterans fall asleep. With 1,500 plus vets now participating, it's our goal to deliver 10,000 audio players this year. Go to our website at songsandstoriesforsoldiers.us. Help us help a veteran make it through the night.
Welcome back. This is The Science of Magic, bringing together gifted people of service to the world. I'm your host, Gwilda Wiyaka. What's up in your world? Email me at info@thescienceofmagic.net and suggest a topic that's on your mind. You're probably not the only one interested. Our guest this hour is Robin Rose Bennett, author of Healing Magic, a Green Witch Guidebook to Conscious Living, and The Gift of Healing, Herbs, Plant Medicines, and Home Remedies for a Vibrant, Healthy Life. Robin, we were talking about how we can, why we've gotten away from ritual historically and how we can reconnect in a way that supports our evolution at this time.
Mm-hmm. So if we can reconnect through our rituals, what we're inviting in is a reconnection with bringing the sacred into every day. We're inviting in reconnection with community, and not solely the community of humans, but the community of all beings. As you said somewhere in the introduction, they're standing by. I'm not sure if that was your exact words, but they're standing by. There's a community of life that is in support of life, and when we do ritual, we tune into that. So Judy Grahn wrote in Blood, Bread, and Roses that, and I'm quoting here, ritual from the Sanskrit ritu, R'(tu), means menstrual and sacred. Ritu means any act of magic toward a purpose. Ritu is found in the words arithmetic and rhythm. It is present in the words art and theater. in Polynesian, their word for ritual, tapua, also means menstrual and sacred, and it became taboo in English. So I think there is also an element of in the disempowerment of the female energy that also went with the the loss of the power of ritual in our culture. And, in doing ritual, it doesn't have to be all solemn and, doesn't have to be all solemn and somber. Our rituals, when they include dancing and singing and having fun and celebrating our diversity, can help us learn how to walk in a good way together. Help us learn which questions we're living. And we are certainly living the questions right now in this tipping point time that we're in. So in a way, I see ritual as one of our primary tools for turning the poison of this time into the potion, into the healing potion. And it's one of the ways that I also see how we're taking the intensity and the hugeness of the challenges of our time and how they are catalyzing us. They're waking people up. And we can't do all our healing work with our logical minds. It simply doesn't work. And ritual reaches into that inner, wise, child, ancient self that lives in all of us.
It seems like
it alive.
It seems like they were overtaken and kind of used to control people at some point along the line. Do you see that?
Yes, absolutely. Only I can tell you what God is saying.
Exactly. A little dogmatic, right?
And if you don't follow the rules, you're in deep, deep, deep trouble.
And of course, I make the rules because I'm the one that can tell you what God is saying.
Exactly. And so that's what people have rebelled against, and good for people.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, we want ritual, ritual at its best is bringing liberating, creative blessings. Everything now, I think, needs to be about liberating the autonomy of each person so that they're encouraged to be who they really are. Because when you are, and I know you know this, when you are who you really are, what you need to do to contribute to the whole, first of all, the fact that you'll want to contribute to the whole is automatic. It just comes with the package. And secondly, what to do to contribute, the more that you are being true to who you are, becomes obvious. It's like as obvious as that you need to exhale after you inhale.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing, isn't it? It's like in order to reunite with the whole, we have to become the true individual that we are.
Exactly. And the thing that is so important for people to get to is that oneness does not erase uniqueness. We're all like unique spokes on all these wheels to keep things turning, and we need all the unique. It's what makes us, a world culture. It's what makes things fun.
It's like we're each this individual piece in a jigsaw puzzle, but the picture isn't complete without each different piece.
Yeah, we need everybody's gifts. So we are each complete, and yet we really only exist in relation to one another and to everything else. And the trees and the plants have never forgotten this relationship. We've forgotten. So what I find is when I help a student to just quiet their mind and listen, they hear the trees talking to them. They hear the plants. They hear the stones. And it is an enormous healing for this deep loneliness that people feel. And ritual, too, can be a healing for this deep sense of isolation, alienation, loneliness. And we're being encouraged from the top, so to speak, from the powers that be, to not care about one another. And I think what we're talking about here and what you're doing this work is it's about, yes, I'll care about myself, but through coming to know who I really am and then knowing who I am, I'm free to kind of overflow my love and caring to you as who you are.
You speak of conscious living. Would you define what you mean by that?
Well, conscious living is living with the awareness, literally like the moment-to-moment awareness that who I am and who you are is part of the same life force. And so what I do to you, I do to me. What I do for you, I do for me.
What does I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
go ahead. No,
What
it's
does
all right.
what does witchcraft and magic have to do with conscious living?
Well, I mean, magic and witchcraft is a chosen way of engaging with the consciousness of the earth, right? Of the of one another, of this incredible intelligence that is at work in everything that makes up our planet. And magic is a way of working with the energy. It requires, well, here, let me read you a quick little thing from my book. To live magically, to work with energy, you have to rekindle your senses, your instincts. To practice magic, to consciously engage in co-creation with nature, you have to remember how to see in the dark. Women lead here. Women remember this art. We embody it in our ovaries and in our wombs. So we are of the earth, and magic is inherent in our creative processes.
You know, as I expressed in the intro, we as humans have gotten ourselves into quite the pickle.
Yeah.
How do you see witchcraft and magic helping us find solutions for this?
Well, I don't think that we humans have all the answers. I think the bears and the wolves and the coyotes and the eagles and the wrens and the chickadees, and I think there's a lot of answers that we need to receive from nature. And so witchcraft and magic, connecting us more to be able to be quiet and less arrogant and listen to the wisdom of nature, to observe and interact with, and through our plantings and our gardens and this and that as well. This is part of what will, and as we approach it with, you said asking, and I scribbled down wonder. As we wonder, how can you help us to live life in a good way? How can you help us to protect you, to protect the ocean, to protect the water? Again, it's like indigenous wisdom is very akin to magical wisdom. I heard a word, I don't know, who created this wonderful word, indigenuity. If we look at what's happened at Standing Rock, where the protesters renamed themselves protectors and insisted that that was the story, not the one that the major press was writing, and insisted again and again, and drew to them people from all over the planet, indigenous and otherwise. This has set a new template in a way. This has set a new template in a way for people power, for the magic of the gathering. And there was magic throughout, Standing Rock. There was ceremony. There was circle. There was, and maybe it's even the ceremony I would call ritual. There was smudging. There was calling the directions. There was honoring. So I think ultimately when we look back on this time we're in, what has happened there and what is now spiraling forth from that is ultimately going to be even more affecting the changes that happen in the world than the current, political morass and mess and corruption and that we're in. I really do. And I've been honestly seeing for decades now that amidst this deathing time that we're in, and I don't minimize it, there is a lot going down, right under the surface in the dark where witches work and where witchcraft is practiced and so forth, meaning in the mystery, in the unknown, in reveling in that mystery, not needing to solve it, there's an enormous labor going on, and this labor is birthing
time flies and
new way of being.
Time flies and we're out of it, but that's a beautiful note to end on, in birth. Our guest this hour has been Robin Rose Bennett, author of Healing Magic, a Green Witch Guidebook to Conscious Living, and the gift of healing herbs, plant medicines, and home remedies for a vibrant, healthy life. Her website, robinrosebennett.com. This has been The Science of Magic. Love to hear from you. Comments, questions, or suggestions, email me at info@thescienceofmagic.net. Until next time, dear ones, may you be blessed with knowledge and comforted with love as you re-enter the forgotten circle.